Carolina Moon by Nora Roberts. Most of my life, I've avoided speaking of it. That didn't stop the memories or the images. I tried to bury it as hope was buried. She was my best friend. Our bond had that deep and immediate intensity only children are capable of forging. In the spring, before that summer, we used her pocket knife to cut a narrow slice in our wrist. Solemnly, we mixed our blood. We were lucky, I suppose, we didn't end up with lockjaw. Instead, we became blood sisters. We were to meet at the swamp in our secret place. I don't suppose it really was much of a secret, but it was ours. It was against the rules to go in after sunset, but at 8, rules are an exciting thing to break. That night, I was quiet at supper. Chances were he'd take no notice of me if I was quiet and cleaned my plate. Inside me, the anticipation of the night was like a living thing, jittery and joyful. I remember the sound of the fans whirring and of the forks scraping against the plates. I remember the silence of souls hiding in fear that lived in my father's house. When my mother offered him more chicken, he thanked her politely and took a second helping. It was a good sign. My mother, encouraged by this, made some mention of how she'd been canning and making jelly too. I know I've got some paraffin around here, but I can't think of where it's got to. And that. Just that casual remark about jelly and wax and absent-mindedness changed everything. I suppose my mind had drifted off in their conversation, that I was thinking the adventure to come. I spoke without thought, without knowledge of the consequences. So I said the words that damned me. The box of paraffins in the top shelf of the cabinet over the stove, up there behind the molasses and the cornstarch. I simply said what I saw in my head, the squared bow of the black wax behind the dark bottle of blackstrap, and reached for my cold sweet tea to wash down the starchy grains of rice. But before I took the first sip, I heard the silence come. The mute wave that swelled to keep in the monotonous hum of the fans. My heart started to pound, and the pulse of fear. He spoke softly then, as he always did, just before the rage. How do you know where the wax is? Where you can't see it? Where you can't reach it? I lied. It was foolish because I was already doomed, but the lie tumbled out, a desperate defense. I told him I guess I saw where Mama put it. I just remember her saying there is all. He tore that lie to shreds. He had a way of seeing through lies and ripping into them. When did I see it? Why didn't I do better in school if my memory was so keen I could remember where the paraffin is a year after the last canning? Mama said nothing as his voice grew louder. Did nothing as he shoved the glass from my hand and it crashed to the floor. I had tears in me then, but I still had hope. Even as he yanked me to my feet, I had the hope that the punishment would be prayers. Hours and hours of prayers until my knees went numb. Sometimes that was enough for him. Hadn't he warned me not to let the devil in? But still, I brought wickedness into his house, shamed him before God. I said I was sorry. Please, Daddy, I won't do it again. I'll be good. I begged him as he dragged me toward my room, his face red with righteousness, big and blinding as the sun. He only slapped me once. That was all it took to stop my pleading and my excuses, and to kill my hope. I lay across my bed on my stomach, passive now as a sacrificial lamb. Soon your cries are more animal than human. The first time he beat me, my mother tried to stop him and he blackened her eye for it. She never tried again. I don't know what she did that night while he wailed away, beating the devil that gave me visions. I prayed too, that whatever was inside me had finally been driven out. I didn't want to be wicked. Yet, even as I prayed, the pressure built in my belly and the tingling came. It was the first time it came to me in this way, and I thought I was sick and feverish. Then I saw Hope, as vividly as if I were sitting beside her in the clearing in the swamp. I smelled the night, and like Hope, I heard the rustling in the bushes. Like Hope, I felt the fear, fresh, hot gushes of it. When she ran, I ran, my breath sobbing out so hard that my chest hurt. I saw her fall under the weight of whatever leaped out at her, a shadow, a shape I couldn't clearly see, though I could see her. She called for me, screamed for me. Then I saw nothing but black, and Hope was gone. I woke up in the body of a dead friend.